12. Habits from the Bible that will completely transform your life. Napoleon Hill. Before you begin, leave your like and subscribe to the channel, because what I'm going to teach you here can completely change the way you view the Bible, faith, and even success. Now pay attention. Most people read the Bible as if it were a book far removed from real life, but what few realize is that it is, in fact, a practical manual of prosperity, wisdom, and mental transformation. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, spent decades studying the principles that make someone truly successful. And what did he discover? That all these principles were already in the scriptures, thousands of years ago. While the world chases miracle formulas and quick fixes, the Bible offers something no one can sell: habits. Small daily practices capable of reprogramming the mind, healing the heart, and aligning the spirit with divine abundance. I know it may sound counterintuitive, but the truth is that spiritual success and material success have the same root: the power of thoughts and habits. And that's exactly what you'll discover here. 12 biblical habits that change everything: the way you think, feel, act, and attract. Habits that Napoleon Hill studied under the name laws of success, and that the Bible already called wisdom. So if you're tired of starting and stopping, of praying without seeing change, of studying without experiencing transformation, stay with me until the end, because today you'll understand what it means to live a practical, intelligent, and abundant faith. Let me tell you something almost no one understands. The mind is hungry, and whatever you feed it, it multiplies. When you meditate on the Word every day, you are, in effect, reprogramming your inner GPS. Without this direction, any path seems right. And that's where many people get lost. 5 minutes of meditation are worth more than an hour of rushing around trying to figure everything out on your own. Pick a verse, read it slowly, and ask, what is God trying to teach me here today? Don't think that meditation is for mystics. Meditation is reflecting. It's chewing over the truth until it makes sense to you. I often say that a well-digested verse is worth more than 1,000 pages read without attention. So do something simple. Choose a short text. It could be Psalm 1 or Joshua 1:8. Read it, note what caught your attention, and apply it today. Tomorrow, another verse. Then another. It's training for the soul, exercising the spirit. Throughout the day, repeat this verse silently, like carrying a reminder in your pocket. In traffic, in line, washing the dishes, meditating brings your mind back to the right place. Want a secret? I always set the verse of the day as my phone's wallpaper. That way, every time I unlock the screen, I'm reminded of who's in charge. Do the same. Small gestures like these shape your thoughts, and that's what paves the way for the next, even more powerful habit. Do you know why most people pray and feel like nothing happens? Because they pray like someone throwing a bottle into the sea, hoping the wind will carry it to God. But prayer, my friend, is much more than asking. It's aligning the mind with purpose. Napoleon Hill said that burning desire is the starting point of all achievement, and prayer is the most powerful way to transform that desire into creative energy. When you pray with intention, you're not just talking to God. You're connecting with what He's already placed within you. I want you to understand. Prayer is not about repeating words. It's about consciously declaring faith. When you say, "It will work out," your mind responds with focus. But when you pray, "Lord, show me the way," your heart calms down, and your subconscious begins to work on your behalf. It's like turning on a spiritual compass. Hill called this the mechanism of applied faith, a force that transforms thought into results. And believe me, the entire universe responds to the mind that prays with clarity and purpose. Try it. Choose a fixed time. It could be when you wake up or before you go to sleep. Close your eyes and pray, focusing on 3 things: gratitude for what you already have, faith in what you don't yet see, and surrendering what you can't control. It doesn't take long, but you need to truly commit to it. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." So when you pray with belief, the invisible begins to move. And it is in this state of active faith that the next habit gains power: living in constant gratitude. Most people are only grateful when things are going well. But true gratitude is an act of faith, not convenience. Napoleon Hill said that a positive mental attitude is the foundation of prosperity, and nothing fosters this attitude like the habit of giving thanks. When you give thanks even for what you don't understand, you change your vibration. It's as if you're saying, "God, I trust you even without seeing the results." And that, my friend, changes everything. I learned that gratitude isn't an emotion, it's a choice. Choosing to see what went right instead of lamenting what didn't. Choosing to celebrate a small victory while the big dream is still under construction. Hill taught that every failure carries the seed of an equivalent benefit. In other words, even pain is a teacher in disguise. So when something doesn't go your way, stop, breathe, and say, "Thank you for this learning experience." This is how the soul matures. Want a simple practice? Grab a notebook and write down 3 reasons you're grateful every morning. They can be small: the hot coffee, the bed that welcomed you, the air you breathe. Do this for 7 days and watch. Your mind begins to constantly search for reasons to be grateful. And, as Napoleon Hill said, you attract what occupies your thoughts most. When gratitude occupies your heart, abundance begins to seek you out. And it is precisely in this state of inner fulfillment that the next habit gains strength: the silence that brings clarity. From time to time, you need to silence the world to listen to yourself. The noise doesn't just come from outside, it comes from worries, comparisons, and the rush that pushes you aimlessly. Napoleon Hill warned, "Haste is the enemy of creative reflection." It is in silence that the mind reorganizes itself, and that God whispers the answers that noise tries to hide. If you've never tried to stop, breathe, and simply be present, you may never have heard the sound of your own wisdom. Rest isn't laziness, it's strategy. It's during this break that the mind creates new connections, the body regenerates, and the spirit realigns. Think of an athlete. They don't grow during training, but in the rest after exertion. It's the same with the soul. Hill said that great decisions aren't born from tension, but from serenity. When you quiet down, ideas flow again. Silence is the soul's airplane mode, necessary to reconnect with what's essential. Make this a habit. Set aside 15 minutes a day to simply be silent. No cell phone, no music, no distractions. Just you, your breath, and God. In the early days, your mind will scream. It's normal. But little by little, you'll realize something. Silence begins to respond. It brings clarity, shows you what matters, and restores your energy. Napoleon Hill used to say that the mind is like a lake. When it's agitated, it reflects nothing. But when it's at peace, it reflects the sky. And it is from this calm that the power to forgive and move on lightly is born, the next step in your transformation. Forgiving isn't forgetting what happened. It's deciding that it will no longer control you. Napoleon Hill said that resentment and bitterness are like poisons you take, hoping the other person will die. And that's exactly what happens emotionally. While you cling to the past, your mind is too busy creating the new. And you know what's worse? Resentment robs you of energy, focus, and even health. Forgiveness isn't a favor you do for someone else. It's a gift you give yourself. I understand. It's not always easy. Sometimes the wound is old and deep, and pride convinces you that forgiving is a sign of weakness. But it's the opposite. Forgiveness is the highest level of spiritual strength. Hill taught that success arises from a free mind, free of fear, doubt, and hurt. When you forgive, You clear the inner space where new opportunities can flourish. It's like clearing away the rubble before building a new house. If you want to get started, try the following exercise. Write the name of the person who hurt you and say out loud, even if your voice shakes, "I release you and I free myself. I choose to live in peace." Do this as many times as necessary. Little by little, your heart loosens. And the more you let go, the lighter you feel. Napoleon Hill said that nothing great can be built with a heavy mind. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the doors to emotional prosperity. And when you learn to serve generously, the universe begins to reward you in ways you can't even imagine. Service is one of the most powerful habits there is, and, paradoxically, one of the least understood. Most people think of generosity as giving what's left over, but service is offering the best of yourself even when no one is looking. Napoleon Hill called it law of compensation. Everything you give comes back multiplied. And it's not just about money. It's about energy, time, attention, and love. When you serve, you align yourself with the flow of abundance. I like to think that service is the universal language of prosperity. Those who learn to speak this language never run out of opportunities. Hill observed that great leaders were, first and foremost, great servants, men and women who placed purpose above ego. And, interestingly, it's always these people that the world rewards. So instead of asking, "What will I get out of it?" start your day by asking, "How can I help someone today?" This simple reversal changes everything. You don't have to be rich to serve. A coffee prepared with care, a listening ear, a message of support. All of this is generosity. When I began applying this principle, I noticed doors opening where before there were only walls. Hill said that the universe cannot tolerate a vacuum. If you give, something must fill the space that has opened. Serve with your heart, and watch. Prosperity begins to follow you. And when you understand this, you realize that the power of words can also be an act of service. The next habit shows you exactly that. Consider this. The words you speak every day are commands your mind obeys without question. Muttering, complaining, and repeating what's wrong is like programming your brain to remain trapped in scarcity. Napoleon Hill said that every word is a mental seed, and the harvest comes sooner or later. So I say to you, want to transform your reality? Start by transforming your vocabulary. Stop saying, "I can't," and replace it with, "I haven't managed it yet, but I'm learning how." That changes everything. People don't even realize how much they sabotage themselves with what they say. It's like an app running in the background, draining your battery without you even noticing. Hill called it negative autosuggestion. Phrases spoken automatically, but which shape beliefs and decisions. When you say, "My life is difficult," your brain understands, "Okay, let's keep it that way." Now when you say, "I'm finding solutions," it starts looking for solutions. It's the same mind, just with different commands. I usually recommend a simple exercise. For 7 days, avoid any complaining phrases. Instead of, "It's hard," say, "I'm getting stronger." At first you'll stumble. That's normal. But soon you'll notice your energy shifting, your conversations changing, and even the people around you seem different. Napoleon Hill stated that the mind becomes what it feeds. So feed it with words of life, faith, and purpose. Because when what you say aligns with what you believe, reality follows. And it's precisely this alignment that gives meaning to the next habit. Living with a defined purpose. Without vision, any path seems right. And that's why so many people walk around tired, busy, but empty. Napoleon Hill said that the first step to all prosperity is having a defined purpose. It's not a fancy self-help phrase. It's a principle of power. When you know what you want, every decision gains direction. The problem is that most people don't know what they want, only what they don't want. And living like this is like rowing without a compass. Lots of effort, little progress. Napoleon Hill called it definite major purpose, the central purpose of life. He believed that no one achieves true success without a goal clear enough to move their heart. Ask yourself, what do I want to build, even if it takes years? It could be creating a healthy family, a business that helps people, or an unshakable faith. No matter the size, clarity matters. Because purpose isn't about rushing, it's about direction. And clear direction is what transforms action into legacy. Want a simple exercise? Grab a sheet of paper and write down what you want to experience in the next 5 years. Write in detail what your routine will be like, who will be around you, what you'll be doing. Read this every day. Hill did this and taught his students to do the same. He said that when the mind visualizes, the body begins to act accordingly. And when you combine faith, clarity, and persistence, nothing stays the same. A purpose-focused mind attracts aligned circumstances, and it's this discipline in detail that sustains the next habit. Discipline is the invisible foundation of every great achievement. Napoleon Hill said that the difference between those who dream and those who achieve is consistency in the little things. Most people want enormous results, but ignore the simple gestures that pave the way. It's not about intensity, it's about repetition. Those who are faithful in the little things prepare the ground for the big things. It's like watering a plant every day. You don't see the growth, but it's happening. The mind loves shortcuts, but success loves routine. Hill used to say, discipline is the link that connects desires to results. It's this link that separates those who simply want to prosper from those who truly do. And make no mistake, discipline isn't rigidity. It's commitment to what you say you want. It's waking up even when you don't feel like it, fulfilling what you promised yourself, and sticking with it, even when no one is watching. Want a simple practice? Choose one detail of your day, your wake-up time, your reading time, your environment, and stick to it for 7 days. Don't fail. By doing this, you're teaching your brain that it can trust you. Hill believed that every small act of discipline strengthens self-confidence, and self-confidence is the foundation of faith in action. When you master the small, the big becomes inevitable. And it's this faith in action that prepares you for the next habit, taking action even when everything seems uncertain. Faith isn't closing your eyes and hoping for the best. It's opening your eyes and following, even without seeing the full path. Napoleon Hill said that faith is the bridge between the invisible and the real. It begins as an idea, a flash, an intuition, and becomes reality when you act, even without guarantees. Fear paralyzes. Faith mobilizes. When you decide to trust, even trembling, something inside you awakens, and the impossible begins to move. I like to say that faith is the fuel of visionaries. No great person in history, neither in the Bible nor in business, built something absolutely certain. Abraham set out without knowing where he was going. Hill wrote, "Think and grow rich," while still struggling with doubt and scarcity. The difference? They walked anyway. Faith isn't the absence of fear. It's courage in the midst of it. It's choosing to act with confidence when circumstances scream otherwise. Want to strengthen your faith? Try declaring out loud, "My faith is greater than my fear." Make this a daily ritual, especially when something feels out of control. Hill said the mind feeds on the words you repeat. So feed it with hope, not panic. And remember, faith is contagious. Your surroundings can extinguish or ignite its flame. Therefore, the next habit is essential, choosing the people you walk with carefully. The mind is like a garden. What you plant grows. The problem is that many people want flowers of peace, but they continue to sow thoughts of fear, doubt, and scarcity. Napoleon Hill said that a man becomes what he thinks about, day after day. If you think about failure, you prepare the ground for it. If you think about possibilities, you begin to see paths where before you only saw walls. Renewing the mind is changing the soil, pulling out the weeds and planting ideas that nourish faith. I know it's not easy to change your thinking. The mind clings to old patterns like an old house that doesn't want to be renovated. But, as Hill taught, it all starts with conscious repetition. He called it creative autosuggestion, the habit of talking to your own mind until it believes the new pattern. So instead of saying, "I can't," say, "I'm learning." It may seem small, but it's like changing the system code. One sentence changes the entire software. Want a practical exercise? For 7 days, observe your thoughts. Write down every time you catch yourself saying something negative, and immediately replace it with a growth-enhancing affirmation. Example: replace "I'm never lucky" with "I create my own opportunities." Do this until it becomes second nature. Napoleon Hill asserted that, over time, the subconscious begins to obey new commands. This is how a renewed mind is born. A mind that doesn't conform, but transforms. And when you transform, you naturally seek out people who think and live on the same wavelength. Choosing who you walk with is deciding where you will end up. Proverbs said, "He who walks with wise men will be wise." Napoleon Hill called this mastermind, the alliance between minds that vibrate at the same frequency. He asserted that no one prospers alone. All true success is born from the union of people who share faith, purpose, and vision. The right environment lifts you up. The wrong one pulls you back to what you've already overcome. Stop and think, who have you been hanging out with? Do these people encourage you or drain you? Hill said that the subconscious absorbs the ideas and attitudes of those you spend most time with. That's why some environments leave you inspired and others drained. If you want to grow, you need to be around those who remind you of your purpose, not those who make you doubt it. Sometimes the faith you need lies in the right friendship. I recommend something simple. Intentionally select your circle of friends. Seek out prayer groups, study groups, mentoring, or conversation circles with people who believe in growth. Hill said that when two or more minds unite with a defined purpose, a third, invisible mind is created. A creative force that opens doors. And that's what happens when you walk with someone who lifts you up. Faith grows, vision expands, and destiny transforms. Because the power of a journey isn't just in the steps, but in those who walk alongside you. Now tell me, what's the point of knowing all the principles if you don't put them into practice? The difference between someone who just listens and someone who transforms their lives lies in one word: action. Napoleon Hill said that knowledge is only powerful when applied. Now, and the Bible confirms, be doers of the word, and not hearers only. So what will you do with everything you've learned here today? Will you return to your routine, complaining about the same things, or will you choose a habit and start today? Maybe it's reading a verse before bed, giving thanks when you wake up, or forgiving someone you've carried in your heart for too long. Remember, change doesn't come quickly. It comes with consistency. One new habit at a time, and your whole life changes. Now I want to challenge you. Comment below which of these 12 habits you'll start implementing today. Write it down, because when you declare, you commit. And don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Sometimes, what seems like a simple click to you can be the beginning of a new phase for someone else. And if this content touched you in any way, like it now, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. Here, every week, you'll learn how to combine Napoleon Hill's wisdom and biblical principles to live with purpose, abundance, and peace. Because ultimately your life changes when your habits change, and today is the best day to start.